Go.
Hi everyone and welcome back to BD Studios. Today we are having an air dry clay workshop here in my house. Small group and it's going to be super fun. So I'm just going to go over a few tips and ideas in case you want to do this in your own home or in a library or in a rental location, whatever. The reason I do it in my house is so that when the pieces are done at the end of the day today, I can control them and make sure that they don't crack and keep an eye on the clay. If any of the students didn't do such a good job, I can come in with a little bit of glue and I can refine it, and then at a later date that we'll all come back again and paint. So let me just show you the basic setup that we have. So I've lined every single workstation with parchment paper. I used to put a tablecloth on there, but I don't do it anymore because it makes creases. So it's best to have a very flat surface. You're going to want the parchment paper, so it's easier to clean up, and when it gets wet, no problem. And the clay does not stick to it. You're going to want to have rulers. I have two rulers, one on each side, so when they roll out the clay, there will be some thickness to it. You're going to need a roller. At least 3 different size brushes. Only that's my preference, but if you only have this size brush, it'll do, or this size, but I like to give them variety. Then I have 3 tools. Skewers, what do you call this? Chopstick. And that's your basic setup.
Okay, someone's here.
Stop it. We're going to go open the door for our first student that's coming in. Okay, so I showed you our basic setup, and then you're going to need some jars with water for when they're blending the clay. It's good to have a little water on hand so you could spread it with your brushes. So this is going to be what we're doing. A cat, a bee, because somebody wanted the bee, and I have a sample of it, and some people want to do dogs. So always have something on hand where people could refer back to it. Here's the template of the cat, which is very easy, as you could tell. And then we're using foam balls. For armature, the easiest thing you want to do, instead of taking tin foil and making figures, and if you're teaching a level entry or second level entry, introduction to clay, stick to foam. It's fantastic, it works really well, and the clay takes to it. And then we have wire. The wire is going to be good for the whiskers, and it's going to be good for any other armature, just to give it a little more stability. We also have different size cutters. So this might be good for the wings of the bee. It might be good for floppy ears when we do the floppy ears here. Just offer everybody that comes a little bit of variety so everybody can make their piece their own. And obviously, you need clay. You need clay, and you could usually get at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces off of this clay to make one little animal, little character. Am I missing anything? I like to have lotion on hand because it helps your hands not to get crusty with all the clay. Always have paper towels for spillage, and since we're using skewers and chopsticks, this is for the tail and these are for the legs. We're going to cut them in 4. You need cutters. Do you need them? No. Will it make your life easier? Yes. You could always use a scissor and snap it. It's fine. Just extra is better. So it's set. What we do that's a little special is we also do a raffle. So we have some gifts for the girls. It's exciting to get something and leave with something. And everybody always brings food and drinks, and it just becomes a social gathering. So extra tools that I didn't talk about are ball tools. I have those a limited amount because I only have 2 sets and we shall share, which is fine. But these are fantastic for making the little holes in the eyes. Again, do you need them? No. Is it going to be easier? Yes. So that's pretty much our basic setup. We're going to have a good time. We're going to sculpt some stuff, and then we'll show you when everybody's in the process and after they're done how they look. And it's going to be a great time. Okay. I just want to explain, mostly for Maria who hasn't done it before, but everything that when you sculpt, you always have to think in shapes, right? So This is just a round ball of chopstick and 4 pieces of skewers, okay? So when you think of shapes, you're gonna think, for example, you do like a half moon and a circle, and then with the tools, you finish.
Oh, no, I don't care.
So, we're recording. But if you ever want to make something, and you look at it, and you're like, well, the body could be a cone. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The head could be an Easter egg left over from a garland.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And this is wire. So if you want to do anything, it has to be simple figures. So for example, let's pretend I had this, right? This could be a woman. Okay,
Yeah.
you would just put a bigger head on her, and you already have kind of like, you know, she doesn't have a waist, but you would do two of the little bumpies here. You could put an apron on her like I did with the rabbits.
You can make some big hips and that would make a waist.
And then let's look at your bee. The bee, again, is a circle. So, a circle.
Did you make that V?
I did. There's a full tutorial on our YouTube channel. It's an hour and 5 minutes long to know how to make this. Chris is going to try making it. So basically, it's just a circle and half a ball. So like if you want to make a snowman, you would just do 2 of these and you would flatten it so they could sit on top. You would cut off a little slice. And then if you want to do something a little more complicated and shape it, you could use tin foil. Like if you want to do a body, you would do tin foil, you would do wire, tin foil, then tape, and then clay. So just to give you like an idea of how, let me show you the latest piece, how things take shape. Okay, so this is the latest thing I've done.
I love her.
But I went more in a flat direction, so it's, see, it sounds pretty hollow versus a little more solid, but it's like insulation, then tape, and paper, then clay, and drywall spackling for the hair, and then this is solid clay. And these are porcelain air dry clay, which we eventually will have a class of porcelain air dry clay, so you can see how that works completely different.
That looks like Rosalie.
And then it
Oh,
smells,
Rosalie, that's just turn it around and
That's
she'll buy
you.
it and
Turn around.
She saw it already.
That's you. It's you.
okay? So, for
The hair
example,
color is wrong.
I know,
Yes, it is.
this little guy,
Oh.
isn't he cute?
Oh, yeah.
He's a little bigger ball than this, cut in half and cut in half.
Yeah.
And then 4 toothpicks, and then a lot of circle cutting and little dots. So, just to give you an introduction
And you have
to,
tutorials on all this stuff?
yeah. So, the reason I'm saying is that you would never attempt to roll out a giant piece of clay as this size of circle. Why? It will take forever to dry mostly. You're wasting clay, and it could dry and crack and break. So you're always going to want to think armature, even if it's a little bit of aluminum foil and then you add a lot of clay. And while it's drying, you should cover it to prevent cracks. So you want it to dry slowly in a nice cool area. I've never had problems with cracking, but when we sculpted the last class, a lot of people put too much water, and I'll show you. And that adds extra moisture, which means extra chance of cracking, okay? So without further ado, we may start. First thing you do to clay is you condition it. And that means just squishing it in your hands and getting any air bubbles out of the clay, right? You may not hear it, but a lot of clay has. Dodge it, flatten out. There might be air pockets. If you ever get an air pocket, you take the pointy one, pop it, and smooth it.
I have some air pockets.
There you go.
Is it good?
I don't hate the texture because I think it adds, because when you're doing an animal, animals have fur. So, I mean, if you get a little bit of texture, who cares, right?
And she has a fat belly, so she
It'll be good.
She's not a label.
No, she's not.
So again, wet it and just use your hands as tools and smooth it. Pero mira, eso que tú estás haciendo is too delicate. I want you to grab clay and squish it into the other one because
Now I got it.
then they will come off. In the drying process, they will snap right off.
And put water.
When you're done, smooth it out with water. So a lot of times, after you guys leave in the drying process, they start breaking or coming undone. You take wood glue. You use wood glue, and it'll just make everything so right. All right, everyone, and welcome back. And today I will be fixing everyone's whiskers and maybe some pieces that came off. This is the part where you take all your students' pieces and try to make them work. Because if not, you would have to split this class in 3 parts. So this is day number, let's see, we had the class on Saturday. Today is Tuesday. All the pieces are completely dry, all of them. And I'm going to just go through and make sure that everything is attached properly. Whatever needs a little bit of sanding, I'm not going to do too much sanding because I'm going to let everyone sand when they come back again before they paint. But what I want to make sure is that no appendages are coming out. And I'm also going to attach all these whiskers, which they definitely come out for sure. You know, just clean it up a little bit for them. For when they come back, it's not cracked all over the place. So what I'm going to use is wood glue. Love this. It works really well. And I'm going to probably add some clay to some parts to do a repair. And I will probably add a little bit of Mod Podge for sealing purposes. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I'll come back and show you how I glued everything. But you definitely want to wait a lot of time to make sure your pieces are dry. What I did the first day is I stood them all up the way you see them. And then the next day in the morning, I turned them all on their side like that, so that their bellies and their legs are all dry. And in the process, you have a completely dry clay piece and ready for repairs. If you were to do this again with the students, you would have to do this in 3 parts. Create, fix, sand, and repair, wait, and then paint. But I don't want to do a 3-part class, so I'm going to do a little work for them and we'll show you when I'm done. All right, here we go. Okay, while I wait for all my little furry friends that are just sitting there waiting, I will wait for the glue to dry and then fill in any gaps with clay. All right, next time you'll see these, they're gonna be ready for paint, and that's a whole other fun activity. All right, see you later. Again, thank you for watching. We'll bring you part 2 when our students paint their cute little furry animals. If you found value in this video, please subscribe, please like, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.